Long ago, there was a powerful demon lord named Varvatos. He was so strong that people stopped seeing him as a human. During the war in which he earned the title Demon Lord, he had to kill his best friend Lydia during the battle. After the war, he ended up all alone. So, Varvatos made a bold decision. He gave up his power, his throne, and his title as the Demon Lord, and reincarnated into the future after 3,000 years as a completely new person, a regular boy named Ard Meteor. In this new world, magic had become much weaker, and people had forgotten many powerful spells. Ard thought that now he'd finally be average and could live a peaceful, normal life. But there was a problem. Even though he tried to live like a normal boy, he was still the strongest person in the world. When Ard turned 10 years old, all he wanted was to make a friend, but that was easier said than done. Because he had lived so long as a scary, serious demon lord, Ard didn't know how to act like a normal kid. He spoke too formally, stared too much, and made everyone uncomfortable without meaning to. Other kids found him creepy and stayed away. Meanwhile, another child in town was having a hard time too. Her name was Ireena, and she was the daughter of the kind town mayor, Olhide. Ireena was an elf, and sadly, other kids bullied her because of it. She stopped smiling and started keeping to herself. One day, Ard saw Ireena trying to practice magic alone. He was impressed and wanted to help, but when he offered, she got scared and ran away. Still, Ard didn't give up. He knew she was Mayor Olhide's daughter, and he really wanted to be her friend. He tried again and again to talk to her. Then something terrible happened. A group of goblins escaped from a nearby dungeon and attacked Ireena while she was alone in the mountains. But just in time, Ard arrived and saved her, using powerful magic with ease. After that, he told Ireena that he would never betray a friend again, which touched Ireena, and she finally began to trust him. She saw that he wasn't scary, he was kind. Ard was so happy, he had finally made a real friend. Years went by, and Ard and Ireena became the best of friends. One day, as teenagers, Ireena had an exciting idea. And that is to join in a magic academy. And with that, their next big adventure was about to begin. Ard and Ireena joined the Academy of Magic, a school where young sorcerers train to become strong. They're accepted right away because they're not just any students. Ard is the son of heroes Jack and Carla Meteor, and Ireena is the daughter of Mayor Olhide, another legendary warrior. But as always, trouble shows up fast. On their first day, Ard and Ireena meet a shy succubus girl named Ginny. She stayed quiet even when bullied, especially by a rich, mean noble boy named Eraldo Spencer. Eraldo is the son of a powerful duke. He treats Ginny like she's beneath him just because her family works for him. Ireena stands up for Ginny, and Eraldo doesn't like that, and Ard joined in the argument to protect Ireena. Then Eraldo, to make himself look cool, he challenges Ard to a duel in front of everyone. The courtyard fills with students. Eraldo walks out, acting proud and powerful. He throws out big, flashy spells with loud names and glowing lights. Everyone thinks he's amazing. But Ard can tell what's really going on. Eraldo is just pretending. His magic looks cool, but it's weak and unbalanced. When Eraldo attacks, Ard stays calm. He blocks the attack like it's nothing, and then he uses a special type of magic called a lost skill. This is ancient magic that hasn't been seen since the time of the demon lord Varvatos, which was Ard's past life. With just one move, Ard wins the fight. Eraldo is left embarrassed and defeated. The crowd is shocked. Ard doesn't brag, he just walks away. But not everyone is fooled. Their teacher, Lady Olivia, watches the duel closely. She's a tough instructor with a sharp eye. But here's something no one else knows. Olivia used to be one of Varvatos' top generals when he was the demon lord. And now She's suspicious. Ard used magic that only Varvatos could use. She starts watching him very closely. To test the students, Olivia sends the whole class on a dungeon monster hunt. Ard, Ireena, and Ginny team up as a team of 3. But Ginny is nervous. Years of bullying made her scared and unsure of herself. She thinks she's weak. But Ard believes in her. He teaches her a powerful trick called script magic, a fast and clever way to cast spells using symbols and writing. It's another lost skill from his old life. Then, inside the dungeon, they run into a minotaur, a big, dangerous monster. Ard could defeat it easily, but he wants Ginny to believe in herself. So he holds the monster back and lets her take the final blow. And she does. Ginny casts her new spell, defeats the Minotaur, and finally feels proud of herself. For the first time in her life, she believes she can be strong. Back at school, Ginny isn't afraid anymore. When Eraldo tries to bully her again, she walks right up to him and slaps him across the face in front of everyone. The crowd gasps. Eraldo is humiliated. And Ginny? She stands tall with a smile on her face. She's no longer afraid. After their exciting dungeon mission, Ard's quiet school life doesn't last for long. One day, Lady Olivia drags Ard to the headmaster, Golde, who has a big request. He wants Ard to take part in a special school event, the Academy Duel Tournament. Why? Because Queen Rosie herself will be watching. If Ard can impress her, the Academy might get more money and better support for the students. Ard disagrees, because he's not too thrilled about showing off and revealing his identity. Meanwhile, something unexpected happens. Ginny asks Ard out on a date. But before they can even make plans, Ireena suddenly jumps in and says she's coming too. Ginny doesn't argue. In fact, she smiles and agrees. She's happy to share Ard's time because, deep down, she dreams of forming a harem for him. I wish I had a girlfriend like her, wished the single viewers. Then Ireena immediately gets angry. She declares that Ard is hers and only hers, and she will never allow anyone else to have him. The two girls glare at each other, while Ard can only sigh. What was supposed to be a quiet outing has suddenly turned into a very awkward 3-person date. The 3 of them go into town together. Ginny walks happily at Ard's side, while Ireena constantly blocks her way, trying to keep Ard's attention for herself. It looks more like a tug of war than a date. Still, they eventually arrive at a theater where a performance is being held. The play is about Varvatos, the demon lord from long ago, Ard's past self. The audience claps and cheers. They watch the movie together, where Ard got traumatized. As the date continues, Ard suddenly hears something strange. A group of people whispering in a dark corner. Their goal is to kidnap Queen Rosie during the duel tournament. Ard knows he can't ignore this. Without saying a word, he quietly follows them as they slip into underground tunnels beneath the city. But once he enters the tunnels, he realizes too late that something is wrong. The cultists surround him. They laugh and reveal that this was their true plan all along. They lured him underground to trap him. They don't just want to kidnap the queen, they want to kill Ard Meteor himself. Ard doesn't panic. Even though they outnumber him, he knows they are no match for his strength. With a wave of his hand and bursts of incredible magic, he defeats them one after another. The ground shakes, the air crackles with power, and in only a few moments, the cultists are lying defeated around him. But their leader isn't finished. The man smiles wickedly, and his body begins to change. His skin twists, his eyes glow with red light, and sharp claws burst from his hands. He is not human at all. He is a demon in disguise. The fight between Ard and the demon breaks out into the streets above. People scream and run for safety as magic blasts crack the stone roads. The demon roars and swings with terrible power, but Ard refuses to back down. He channels his energy, unleashes a mighty attack, and destroys the demon completely. The crowd, instead of fearing him, cheers loudly. For once, Ard isn't seen as a monster or a threat. He is celebrated as a hero. Soon after, Ard and his friends are summoned to the palace to meet Queen Rosie. The queen greets them warmly, and she told in front of everyone that she is going to marry Ard as the reward. And Ireena scolded the queen in front of everyone. Everyone was shocked and told Ireena must be punished, but the queen told that she and Ireena were old friends, so she would forgive her. Then, plot twist, she told Ard to make her pregnant in front of everyone, and I had to recheck the website I was watching anime. Then, after all that hype, my excitement was labeled as a joke.
But in the end, Queen Rosie gives them good news. The Academy will get new funding. Ard and Ireena are promoted to the elite Pentagon-class mages. Ginny is promoted too, becoming a powerful Triangle-class mage. It's a big day for everyone. But not everything is as it seems. Later, the surviving cultists reveal something shocking. Their plan was never to win. They wanted to lose so they could measure Ard's true strength. Now that they've seen his power, they can report back to their master, who plans to use this information to take over the world. The real danger is still out there. Things at the Magic Academy are getting complicated for Ard Meteor. One day, a student named Lemming walks up to Ard and suddenly says she's in love with him. But it's not real. She just wants attention and to make herself look important by being close to someone powerful. Before she can say much more, Ireena shows up, clearly jealous. She glares so intensely that Lemming gets scared and runs away. Then Ireena gives Ard the death stare and walks away in a huff without saying a word. Later, Headmaster Goldie asks Ard once again to participate in the Academy's big duel event, where students show off their magic in front of Queen Rosie and powerful nobles. But Ard says no. They already got the funding from the Queen, so he doesn't see the point. This disappoints Goldie, who had secretly hoped that if Ard performed well, the nobles would support making Ard a future Academy instructor. Back in his room, Ard is feeling a little down. He's thinking about how to make things right with Ireena. That's when Ginny shows up. She tries to cheer him up with a flirty plan of her own. But just as things get awkward, Ireena walks in. It turns out she was also planning to surprise Ard to apologize for being jealous earlier. But when she sees Ginny already there, she gets furious. The two girls start arguing and decide to duel over Ard right there in his room. But Ard's had enough. He yells at them to stop and says he refuses to be a prize they fight over. He wants them to get along, not compete for him. Suddenly, their teacher, Professor Jessica, walks into the room. She had been secretly listening outside the whole time. She tells them about Goldie's original plan by promoting Ard by having him impress the nobles at the duel event. Since Ard refused, she decides there's only one way to settle things now. Ireena and Ginny will duel each other in front of Queen Rosie. The arena is full. Nobles, students, and even Queen Rosie are watching. But Ard is not enjoying it, because 3 of the judges are his parents, and one of them is Ireena's father, Mayor Olhide. Talk about awkwardness. Still, the duels begin. And one more thing, I did not see any boys in the tournament and just girls screaming in the tournament. Thanks to the lost skills Ard taught them, both Ireena and Ginny win their matches with amazing magic. The crowd cheers. Everything seems to be going well. But then, everything goes wrong. Just before the final duel between Ireena and Ginny, a group of cultists hiding in the audience reveal themselves. And the biggest shock of all? Professor Jessica stabs Olhide in the back. She takes off her disguise and reveals her true identity. She is Elzard, the frenzied Dragon King, a powerful enemy working with the demon cult. Their plan all along wasn't about the duel, it was to kidnap Ireena.
Ginny tries to stop her, but Elzard is too powerful. Ginny gets badly hurt and falls to the ground. Helpless, she can only watch as Elzard flies away with Ireena disappearing into the sky. After Ireena was kidnapped during the duel event, Ard Meteor had only one goal: save her, no matter the cost. He quickly healed Oldhide, Ireena's father who had been stabbed by the enemy. Grateful and determined, Oldhide gave Ard access to the royal armory, giving him powerful weapons to aid in the rescue. Ard made a promise to Ginny: "I will bring Ireena home." Far away, the evil dragon Elzard prepared to sacrifice Ireena in a terrible ritual. She wanted to awaken a terrifying monster called the Orphan of Chaos and summon an evil god to destroy the world she hated, because Ireena had the blood of the evil gods. But just in time, Ard arrived. He destroyed the monster, defeated Elzard's followers, and saved Ireena from the ritual. But the battle wasn't over yet. Back at the manor, Oldhide spoke with Jack, Ard's father. He revealed a secret. Oldhide's family is the true royal family, and the ones ruling now are just proxies. Elzard tried to use that secret to turn Ard against Ireena, claiming her family was descended from evil gods. But Ard didn't care. Ireena was still his friend. In a fierce final battle, Ard stabbed Elzard, but she transformed into her massive dragon form. Ard stepped in, reverting to his true self, the demon lord Varvatos, and summoned an image of his lost love, Lydia, to fight by his side. He realized Elzard was lonely, but that was no excuse for hurting Ireena. He defeated her, and Lydia's apparition vanished once more.
But then she remembered he had accepted her even after learning her secrets. She vowed to become strong enough to fight beside him. Deep in a dungeon, a young girl named Sylphie awoke. To her shock, the world had changed. 3,000 years had passed while she was inside. A masked man appeared and told her the truth. Her sister, Lydia, and Varvatos were both gone. But Varvatos had reincarnated as Ard Meteor. Sylphie set off to find him. Back at the academy, the school was preparing for a huge festival. Headmaster Golday had a funny idea. He wanted Ard to act on a stage performance. There was also a strange new threat, a mysterious warning from someone named Lars Al Ghul. Sylphie found Ard and confronted him, asking if he really was Varvatos. Ard pretended not to know, but Olivia, who knew Sylphie 3,000 years ago, became very interested. Sylphie challenged Ard to a duel. When she lost and got upset, Ireena scolded her, reminding her so much of Lydia that Sylphie burst into tears. The class chose to perform a play about the life of Varvatos, with Ard playing himself, Ireena as Lydia, and Sylphie as the evil god. For their class project, Ginny had a wild idea, a maid cafe, with outfits that were a little too fancy, but the girls agreed if they could serve Ard. Olivia secretly entered Ard into the Great Sword King tournament, where the prize was a copy of Vald Gulgus, the legendary sword once used by Lydia herself. Ard, Olivia, Sylphie, Ireena, and Ginny all won their duels and made it to the finals. Ginny asked Ard to join her in a Mr. and Miss Beauty contest, which they won to Ireena's horror. During the contest, Eraldo admitted that he used to be friends with Ginny as a child, but was taught to look down on people by his father. He hoped she could forgive him someday. In the next round, Ard faced Olivia, who pushed him to show his true power. He accidentally blasted her far away, causing them both to be disqualified. The masked man, watching from the shadows, decided it was time to change the game. Ard discovered the play was based on the Battle of Avia Desa Veers, a major victory in the past thanks to Sylphie's help. He remembered she had set traps and claimed a powerful sword, Demise Argus. Sylphie won the final round and claimed the Vald Galgus replica. Except it wasn't a replica at all. It was the real sword, and hidden in a tree nearby was its power source. She combined them, summoned Demise Argus, and suddenly attacked Ard. She believed he had killed Lydia. Why? Because the masked man had mind-controlled her and showed her a fake memory of Ard murdering her sister. Ard, now Varvatos again, fought her. But then Lydia's voice reached Sylphie. The spell was broken. The masked man, furious, took both swords and tried to kill Ard himself. He wanted to sacrifice Ireena to revive his dark master. But the swords rejected him, and Ard destroyed him in an explosive battle. Lydia's spirit returned one last time. She told Sylphie the truth. Her death was not Ard's fault. She wanted Sylphie to live freely and happily. Before vanishing, she called Ard a dumbass. Ard just smiled. Ard Meteor thought this would be a normal school field trip with his classmates. But everything suddenly changed. Time froze. Everyone stopped moving, except Ard, Ireena, and Ginny. Then the three were transported into a strange white void where they met a boy claiming to be a god. He warned them that a great danger was coming, a being who would destroy the world. Their mission? Stop it. Suddenly, they woke up again, but something was very wrong. The sky above them had 2 moons, a sign that they'd been sent to the distant past during the time when Ard was still the powerful demon lord, Varvatos. Soon after, they rescued a girl from a giant scorpion and were met by Olivia, a younger version of their teacher, who thanked them for saving her ally and asked them to join Varvatos' army in the war against otherworldly enemies. Ard agreed, but asked that he, Ireena, and Ginny be placed under the care of Verda, a scholar who worked far from the front lines. When they met Verda, the girls accidentally insulted her, since she looked nothing like the way history described her. To fix things, they explained they were from the future, and Verda agreed to help them. Then 2 familiar faces appeared, Sylphie and Lydia, Ard's powerful allies from the past. Lydia quickly took a liking to Ginny, a little too much. When she crossed the line, Ard had to step in, which led Lydia to challenge him to a duel. Their fight ended in a draw, and impressed, Lydia agreed to help them speak with Varvatos, but only if they proved themselves in battle. The group stayed with a kind girl named Latima, but Lydia continued to tease Ginny. Still, when they entered their next battle, Ard quickly captured the enemy general, impressing everyone and earning them a meeting with Varvatos, his past self. But things got strange. Varvatos wasn't called the Demon Lord and claimed someone else held that title. When Ard brought this up with Verda, she suspected that history was being changed by the one the god warned them about, the real Demon Lord. Ard decided to go on a raid with Lydia and Sylphie to defeat Mevelus the Curse King, the one who cursed Lydia long ago, forcing Varvatos to eventually kill her. But when they arrived, it was too late. Mevelus had already been slain by a dark, armored knight, the true Demon Lord, who declared war on Varvatos and disappeared into the shadows. Then, something shocking happened. That night, the Demon Lord appeared to Ard again and revealed something unbelievable. He was also Ard, but from a future timeline, one where Ard lost everything and gave up his name, calling himself Disaster Rogue. He was sent back by the same god, but with the opposite mission, to destroy the world. Why? Because all he wanted now was to save Lydia, even if it meant rewriting history and wiping out the future. He gave Ard time to choose, to join him or stop him. Later, Ard asked Lydia a question. What would she do if her death could fix everything? To answer, Lydia brought him to a ruined town, a place she had once destroyed during war. She confessed that she had already decided to die someday, quietly and alone, as her way of paying for the lives she had taken. Ard didn't try to stop her. Instead, he made his choice. While Ard left to face Disaster Rogue, Ireena was hurt and angry he left them behind. She and Ginny went with Latima to destroy a special crystal, the source of Disaster Rogue's immortality. But Latima betrayed them, revealing she was working for Disaster Rogue all along. She trapped them using magic nullifying crosses, threatening their lives. Disaster Rogue showed Ard the captives and said, "Join me or they die. I'll save Lydia no matter the cost." But Ireena and Ginny weren't helpless. They used unusual magic Ard had taught them to break free. Latima summoned a horde of monsters, but Lydia had placed trackers on the girls and arrived just in time. She defeated the monsters and destroyed the crystal, removing Disaster Rogue's immortality. Furious, Disaster Rogue fought Ard one final time. The two were equally matched, but the emotions were different. The older Ard wanted to save Lydia, but the other wanted to let her do as she pleases. As he died, both versions of Ard remembered a fight they once had with Lydia, something they both regretted deeply. As Disaster Rogue vanished, so did the world around them. Ard, Ireena, and Ginny began to fade. Time was resetting. Lydia, who had known all along they were from the future, asked them one thing. "Will people be happy in the future?" When they nodded, she smiled and asked them to give Ard a message. The trio returned to the present as if no time had passed. Olivia and Sylphie scolded them for falling asleep during the field trip. But something had changed. Ireena passed on Lydia's message to Ard. "No matter what happens, we will always be friends." Ard smiled, because standing nearby was the apparition of Lydia, quietly watching over him. The past was full of pain, regrets, and choices that shaped the future. But Ard had kept his promise. He had protected the future, honored Lydia's will, and chosen his own path.